Hi, everybody. Katie Florio standing alongside Will Vandervoort in today's Monday Blitz. Now, Will, talked to Kelly Bryant earlier, and you kind of grilled him a little bit. What were you getting from him today?
Well, a lot of the conversation has been about Kelly Bryant the last couple of weeks with what's wrong with him. He can't hit the long pass. Early in the season, he was hitting the long passes really good, and he seemed like he was a natural at it in a way. I mean, a lot of people were talking about how good he was doing that, and then all of a sudden, these last few weeks, really since the injury against against Wake Forest, he hasn't been the same with the long balls. And now, to his defense, Deion Kane has dropped a couple, so it's just not on him. So he's had thrown some good ones, but most of the ones he's been off, and he even admitted he's been off on it. So him and Coach Streeter, I asked him, what has Coach Streeter worked with you on? What's going on that you guys have seen? And he talked about how he's keeping his elbow too high, I believe is what he said. And, and he just feels like, he's just not follow-throughing the ball. He doesn't follow through with the ball as well as he should. And so then I asked him, well, did you what's causing that? Are you rushing it, or are you a little too anxious? And he was like, no, he didn't think that was it. It was just he wasn't really 100% sure why he was doing it. And he said that's something that they're working on, and that's something they're going to work on this week and next week and try to get better at. So he's aware of what's going on and what's at least causing the problem, the mechanical issues. Now he's just got to try to fix it. So in that point, it's very similar to a kicker. When a quarterback gets something on his mind, it's very similar. And so the last thing I asked, what did you see? And I'll tell you what I saw, but what did you see on that play where he took the sack? And I think it was the third quarter. And I remember Powell was running wide open on a post. I mean, it's open. He's got his guy beat. It's a touchdown. He's got to let the ball go, and he didn't. He started hesitating. Then he ran over to the side and thought, I'm going to let it go then. Then he stopped just before he was about to let it go for some reason. And to me, that came off like he's lost his confidence. So it's obviously in his head that he's worried about things right now. He's afraid if he underthrew it, it's going to get intercepted, because it would have been intercepted. So I think that's what's going on with him right now. It's a mental thing, and we're going to see if he can get that corrected, because as we know, in the next weeks to come, he's going to have to throw the long ball, because teams like Miami and South Carolina, and then if they do get to the college football playoff, and Alabama or somebody like that is not going to let Clemson just sit there and run the ball down their throat. He's going to have to hit those long passes.
Yes, definitely. Now, Jeff Scott also discussed, some of that inaccuracy and the long ball issues. What were his thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, his thoughts were a lot like Kelly's, that they know what the issue is, and it's just a matter of, him and Tony Elliott have always been the same. We kind of let Brandon handle that. That's his area of expertise. But they've noticed it. The coaches see it too, and they talk about it, and it's just a matter of just getting Kelly to believe in himself again. And I think if he just hits that one pass, that one layup, Dabo likes to say, if he can just get that one layup, then it's over, because just like any good shooter, you start missing, and your coach always will say, go shoot a layup, because if you do, then you make it, and then all of a sudden the basket seems normal again. When if you're not, it looks like this, and so it's just a matter of hitting that one pass. He gets that one pass, and that's why this week against the Citadel, you might see them try several long passes. No disrespect to the Citadel. It's just a matter of this is an opportunity to get that confidence back. So I think you're going to see Kelly take a couple shots this week.
And now kind of turning towards a different topic, Trayvon Mullen today talked about Marcus Edmonds' injury. And, he sprained his foot in the Auburn game, and just how he's handled, being out these past 8 games.
Yeah, Mullen was really good because, usually we don't get to talk to athletes when they're injured. So, it's just a rule Dabo has. He doesn't like for them to have to deal with that when they're – because when a player's injured, especially in football, they only play 12 times a year. And so you can imagine you miss games. That hurts because you work all year long to play those 12 games. And for Marcus Edmonds, he's been out since the second week of the season. So he's missed the last 8 games. And really he's been out that game too because he got hurt on the third play. And so his guy's a senior. He's worked his butt off to get to this point in his career. He was supposed to be a starter at the field corner position. And so everything was good for him. And then he gets hurt. He got hurt in camp. That set him back a little bit, and then he comes back and gets himself to play again, and then gets hurt again. And it was just a ridiculous – I won't say ridiculous, but it was a weird play. The guy just, for Auburn, lands on top of his foot, and his cleats kind of went into his foot, sprained his top of his foot was the injury. And that's something that's hard to correct, And so Mullen was talking about how, he was really he's had a good attitude. He's been to every practice. He's been to every game. He's there coaching the guys up. He had not one time as he talked about the injury and how disappointed he is that he's missing his senior season. He says he's been very positive around them, and he says that's been good in the locker room because those guys, he says, they kind of, a couple of those guys have gotten hurt, and he's kind of been the guy they've leaned on, and he's given them encouragement. So, it's good to hear that for that young man because it hasn't been the senior season he was hoping for. And hopefully, he'll get to come back and play in this game against the Citadel or definitely at least against South Carolina and then on into the playoff, ACC championship and the college football playoffs. I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. So hope Miami doesn't use this as bulletin board material. I'm sorry, Dabo. It wasn't my fault. But anyway, so hopefully he'll use that. He'll be able to play in these games coming up.
Yeah, so keep up with the Clemson Insider as we continue full coverage of Clemson football the rest of this week.